What's up, everybody? Joe White here. Big news coming today. God, I need a new webcam. That is coming. I promise. We'll be in HD soon. Anyway, I sound like the guy from Sling Blade there. Hello, my name is Carl Childers. We're here to talk about WWE and the brand split. My hair is naturally mohawking. Look at that. That is natural, folks. There's nothing in my hair. I think I'll keep it like this. Anyway, I've been writing down stuff all day about this damn brand split happening. A lot of people from Dave Scher to Mike Johnson, the usual, Meltzer, even Sam Roberts did a video, which I'll talk about here in a minute, talking about this brand split. And I thought I'd throw my hat in the ring, so to speak, and give you what my thoughts are about this. First off, I'm glad they're doing this. It's pretty clear from the way things are going that we are never going to get more than the status quo. Sorry about the glare. We are never going to get more than the status quo as far as this current situation in WWE goes. That's a good pro, is that this will make new stars, which they've needed to do forever, and make stars in a way that does not put them in hokey and or stupid situations. Like that fucking Asylum match. Anyway, it will also... It's also going to be good because, okay, if you don't like what they're giving you on Monday nights, chances are they may be giving you something different on Tuesday nights. However, there's a couple cons about this. One is that you're going to have 3 hours of wrestling on Monday night, and then you're going to have turn around and have 2 hours of wrestling on Tuesday nights. That's a lot of wrestling back to back. At least when it's on Thursday, you have a chance to mellow out a little bit, digest it. Another good thing to this though is that there's no more spoilers. There's no more SmackDown spoilers. They can't edit in crowd noises. They can't edit in cheers for Roman Reigns when the people are booing. They can still turn down the crowd mics like what they did this past Monday. But they can't put in cheers or boos on a live Well, they can, but you could tell. How WCW used to pipe in Goldberg chants over the PAs for their house shows or for their TV tapings. I think that they need to do a lot of things here that will get them up and running as far as promoting this. Vince needs to come out there. What is it, June? Let's see, they have this Monday where John Cena's returning, and it's a holiday, so they're not going to do shit there. But you need them to come out June 6th and go, you know what? In about a month, we're going to shake things up again. We're going to shake it up. And we're going to have a draft split. As far as general managers and authority figures, I kind of want to see a general manager, but I don't want to see them have such a prominent role. I don't want to see red shirt and blue shirts. I don't want to see, rah, rah, let's get them. You shouldn't, Mike Johnson said it best, you shouldn't be looking like a damn soccer team out there. There's a couple things here before I get into my rosters that I want to do. The draft. They need to do the draft lottery. This is very important. It's a very good institution of the network here. They need to do the draft lottery, but they need to do it like this: 10 and 10. Do 10 picks, for SmackDown, 10 picks for Raw. Supplemental draft, live draft special. And they can. I was watching the NFL draft a couple of weeks back, and I'm not a football fan, but this was actually the way they did it, the way it was well done. Of course, the guy who was supposed to be the top pick at the draft ended up having a picture of him come out and, of him smoking a bong or whatever, and that limited his chances. He didn't get picked until late in the second round. I want to say he was the 12th or 13th pick. But the way they do it, okay, Raw, you're on the clock. You have until the next match ends to to pick somebody, and then SmackDown, you're on the clock. You have this, and here's what you do. You see the people in the background. Hell, maybe even see a couple of the superstars who are not on that WWE taping at home with their families, waiting to get the call. We're waiting to get the call. We're the same thing with do it backstage. All the guys sitting at the catering table, waiting to get the call, waiting to see what's going to happen. Yes, show them eating fucking catering if you have to. You could even do a whole damn deal because Vince McMahon loves to do this shit. Show Mark Henry when his name is called with a piece of chocolate cake in his mouth or some shit. I'm all for that, the gaga. But make it seem like it's actually important, like that very first draft they did back in April of 2002. You have to do it. You have to do it that way. Again. Sorry, I wake up in the morning and it looks like this. That's amazing. The second thing is the cruiserweight division. I'll get into this when we do the titles, but this NXT Cruiserweight Open, can somebody answer to me what the winner of this thing gets? Why they're holding this tournament? I mean, I get it. Yes, it's going to be good matches, but that's not enough. That's never enough in WWE's mind. Hell, it's not even enough in Ring of Honor's mind nowadays. There's got to be something more there. There's got to be something to it. A couple of the guys are actually already on NXT TV every week, just about, like Tommaso Ciampa and all that. So I don't know. I don't know what the deal is, unless they're going to rope this into the whole thing where saying, hey, this NXT or the world, it's not even NXT, it's actually WWE, the WWE Cruiserweight Classic. NXT really has nothing to do with it. It's taking place on the network. Why don't they say winner of this tournament is our first ever? Well, they can't say first ever, but they could say our new WWE Cruiserweight Champion. That belt is why this tournament's there. Maybe you give somebody, a shot at that belt, and they automatically get a main roster spot. I don't know fully off the top of my head who's in the Cruiserweight Classic yet, but there you go. It seems like last year they had the Dusty Rhodes Classic. This year we're doing the Cruiserweight Classic. I do have an idea of what they could do annually with this, but I'm going to keep that here for a few minutes. Creative teams need to be different for Raw and SmackDown. I bet you Cody Rhodes is kicking himself in the ass because one of those creative team members who he bashed in that open statement now, if he would have just held his tongue and kept his head down a little bit longer, he probably would be getting a push, at least as Intercontinental or U.S. Champion. But we need different creative teams. And Paul Heyman, stay off this Raw conference call. I think also that you need different you need different writers. Obviously, they said that they're going to have that. They dropped this in Variety Day, which is pretty damn cool. As far as Stephanie doing SmackDown, Shane doing Raw, or vice versa, we all know that's what's going to happen. I just don't want to see these two guys meet. Never these two brands should never cross each other. You see Pepsi in the same soda fountain as Mountain Dew, but you would never see somebody drinking Pepsi in a Mountain Dew commercial, and vice versa. So, unless it's a PepsiCo commercial. And even then, that's only, for corporate yucks. Here's our brand. Or here's our company, rather. 4 times a year, these guys should meet. Maybe 5. Rumble, obviously. WrestleMania, you do one interpromotional match and you make it a good one. Hell, maybe not even then. So Rumble, maybe Mania. SummerSlam, obviously you have a joint brand pay-per-view. Survivor Series. Now, I don't want to see Raw versus SmackDown at Survivor Series. I don't want to see bragging rights. I don't want to see none of that crap. I'm talking These are the times you don't even do interpromotional matches except Money in the Bank. Money in the Bank is your only interpromotional match of the year. You have guys versus SmackDown, guys with Raw. They're competing for that briefcase. They're not competing for brand supremacy. They're competing for a briefcase, a title shot. It means more. Nowhere nowhere else but then, and the Rumble, of course, because again, you're competing for a title shot. Those are the only two times that I want to see a Raw guy touch a SmackDown guy. That's it. I'll even take back Mania. I don't want to see it at Mania either. As far as the draft goes, and I have my list of who should be where, and I'm going to go ahead and say it right now. Right now, the draft needs to be like this. Raw and SmackDown, everybody is a free agent except for two people, The Rock and Brock Lesnar. Those two guys are staying off of it. In fact, you don't even include The Rock because The Rock is special privilege. He can show up anywhere he wants. But Brock Lesnar is an active member of the roster. He is under contract, and he cannot be touched. Another guy, because it openly came out on the internet. You can go on the internet and look it up. Another guy who is not able to go back and forth as Triple H, but due to the fact that he is still COO of the company, and he is head of NXT. Other than that, everybody is a free agent in the company. Of course, your World Heavyweight Champion is, going to be on. To me, everybody's saying, split the title. No. Here's where they messed up the first time. I was perfectly happy with, in the very first remnants of this, you remember Triple H was champion. They had the draft, and Hulk Hogan got drafted to SmackDown. I'm perfectly happy with every other month, depending on who the champion is. I'm perfectly happy with them keeping one champion of the company and having the champion be on both shows. Granted, this is double duty for the champion, but you're the champion. You're put there because you know how to be there in that spot, and it's part of the gig. Champion goes on both shows. Every other month, it's, 1 month he's challenging somebody from SmackDown. Next month he's challenging somebody from Raw. Next month he jumps over, swaps over. I'm perfectly happy with that. As for pay-per-views, I will get to that in a minute. Actually, you know what? I'll go ahead and get to it now before the roster. You're going to have... WWE now does all their pay-per-views on the network. It doesn't cost you any money to do... Here's what I've said all along. The only company that they're doing pay-per-views for is Comcast. The only reason why Comcast is still around doing maybe it's on like other cable TV networks, but Comcast is the only one I know of. DirecTV and Dish are no longer doing pay-per-views for WWE. To the best of my knowledge, no other cable company carries them because of the network. So here's what you do. You cut money. Okay? Bye-bye pay-per-views for all companies. Since we have this network, now the majority of America could get internet one way or another. You're not going to lose that much money by doing this because they're only making about $1 million a year on pay-per-view anyway. I think it was. I don't remember what they look up the earning reports, but you're not losing that much money. You tell pay-per-views, bye, you're done. Let UFC, Ring of Honor, TNA have the pay-per-view market. You're the king now. You need to get away from it. So that saves you satellite truck costs. The only times that you need to bring in a satellite truck is on Monday and Tuesday of every week when you broadcast Raw and SmackDown live. As far as the pay-per-views go, you're going to do 2 a month now. You're going to do a Raw pay-per-view at the beginning of the month. You'll do a SmackDown pay-per-view at the end of the month. Honestly, I don't think they'll do that, but it's totally possible to do that. Otherwise, if they're going to keep it like it is now, which they probably will. I mean, I could totally see them doing a Raw Pack pay-per-view and a SmackDown pay-per-view. Okay, SmackDown on the pay-per-view this month has the WWE Champion. So on the Raw pay-per-view this month, what we're going to do is our main event's going to be for the Intercontinental title or the U.S. title, whatever they take. And our secondary main event is going to be number one contendership for the World Heavyweight Belt. And then you do the reverse on SmackDown. SmackDown U.S. title, Intercontinental title is your semi-main or main event or semi-main is number one contenders match. Get a ranking system in there maybe. There's so many ways that they could go with this. I personally would go the secondary route. Go ahead and, I mean, if you want to spend the extra money to broadcast these on pay-per-view every month and have people shell out for it, because there is people that would do it, by all means go ahead. You have this network. What is it costing you to broadcast live that you're not paying for already? Server space and make sure the building's got a good internet connection. That's it. You know? Unless they're using satellite trucks to broadcast live on the network, that's a totally different animal. Not too sure how that works, but it's a thought. It's an idea. I'm just sitting here talking out of my ass, obviously. As far as NXT goes, in the draft, they need to sit there and say, unless in case I haven't said it before, NXT is wide open for the draft. Anybody and everybody can be transferred up to that main roster. Anybody and everybody is wide open at NXT. And Joe, you're killing NXT if you do that. All Valor, Bayley, all of them are going to leave. NXT is supposed to be set up like an indie promotion inside WWE. It's a chance for them to build new people. You have to have the old leave before you can bring the new in. You can't sit there and rely on Bayley and Finn Balor and Samoa Joe forever. Also, with the supplemental draft being on the network live after Raw, again, you do 10 and 10, and then, hey, if you want to see the rest of the draft, you air this live on the network. You air the supplemental draft live. So that people don't have to. It used to be back in the day that they would do 10 and 10, and then, oh, well, there are going to be 20 other superstars drafted or 10 more superstars drafted in a supplemental draft. Go to WWE.com, and you're sit there refreshing the page to find out. No, you do it live on the network. As far as rosters go, going to start off now. These are kind of in alphabetical order because what I did was I actually went on WWE's website and I just sat there and looked at this person. Where would he fit in? Where would this guy fit in? So they're in alphabetical order. Brock, both shows. The champs go to both shows. As far as the, I'm going to go ahead and get this out the way. The women's division. SmackDown becomes the Total Divas show, or Raw becomes the Total Divas show. But I have SmackDown as the Total Divas show here, and by that I mean Fox, Alicia Fox. You put Tamina with her still. Becky Lynch. Yes, she's not on Total Divas, but she still needs some work and still needs some seasoning. So that's why you stick her on SmackDown to help elevate her and get her ready to go back up to Raw and the following year's draft. Now, this bullshit I've been hearing about people going, you need to leave it alone for 2 years. I would say about a year. I liked when they did it every year. Because if I'm a writer, by the time a year is up with, I'm begging for fresh meat. So there you go. Becky Lynch is on there. Again, I'm gonna restart here. SmackDown, as far as divas go, you have Alicia Fox, Tamina Snuka, Becky Lynch. Eva Marie goes to SmackDown. Gets called up from NXT, you're on SmackDown. They're going to need her. She's a hell of a heel. I don't like the way she works. She can't really work with the damn, but people hate her because of that, so why not exploit it? Naomi goes to SmackDown. Nikki Bella, if she's still around, SmackDown. Paige, Rosa Mendez, Summer Rae, they round out the SmackDown roster as far as women's division goes. And again, your women's champion is going to go to both shows. We can't have they just made this belt. You can't sit there and have Diva. You can't go back to a Divas champion and a women's champion. And you can't have, to me, you can't have the women being on one show only because you still need women's wrestling on both shows. What would a wrestling show be without a women's match? And I'm not going to sit there and go, oh man, I wish there was a women's match on this show the way these women have been doing lately. No, you put the women on both shows. You do like I said with the title. 1 week Raw gets or 1 month Raw gets a women's title shot. Next week SmackDown gets it. There you go. And the way it's decided basically is simply by a coin toss at the beginning. The same way the first pick in this draft is going to go. It's going to be decided by a coin toss. And then we're going to have drafts. Now, it used to be where you would have SmackDown versus Raw matches, and the winner of that match got the next pick. You can't do that here, really. You can't really do that here, so there has to be some... They're going to set up authority figures, as much as people don't want to see it. Shane's probably going to go to SmackDown, Stephanie's probably going to go to Raw, and that's going to be your two picks. On the Raw side of things, as far as women go, Charlotte is the champion. She starts off on Raw. Dana Brooke stays with her, as that is her lackey right now. I have Emma staying on Raw as well, because when she comes back from that surgery, she's going to join up with Charlotte and Dana Brooke. Lana I have on Raw because Rusev is going to be on Raw. Natalya is on Raw. I'll tell you what, I'll even swap out Natalya for Paige. I'll put Paige on Raw and Natalya on SmackDown. Sasha Banks, when she comes in on SummerSlam, she's going to be on Raw. Maurice is on Raw because, yes, I still have The Miz on Raw. And the one that's going to shock people, your first NXT call-up in my little mock draft here, Bayley is on Raw. There you go. Stick that in your pipe and smoke it. So, that leads us to the men. I'm going to go Raw first. And this is going to turn a little bit of heads here. Baron Corbin stays on Raw. Colin Cassidy and Enzo Amore, they're going to go to Raw. However, this is the main draft right here. They're going to stay on Raw, but I have a feeling that there is going to be a trade deadline. And I got a feeling you're going to see this team split up in the trades. But I have Big Cass staying on Raw for right now. And as it gets closer, we're going to speculate. I mean, this is just not definite. I mean, I got it written down with ink and paper, for crying out loud. The New Day, the entire New Day, seeing as how they can function as a unit, and any three of them, or any combination of the two, could do the titles, New Day stays on Raw. Big Show stays on Raw. This is a tough one for me. I put the Wyatt family on Raw, but now that I think about it, I think the Wyatt family needs to go to SmackDown. So I'm going to put the Wyatt family on SmackDown. Cesaro and Tyson Kidd, because they are, I don't know if Kidd's coming back yet, but Cesaro's got to stay on Raw at least. Dean Ambrose is staying on Raw. Dolph Ziggler is staying on Raw. Primo and Epico, they're on Raw, surprisingly. People know them already. The jig is up there. Lost Matador is. Come on, guys. Jack Swagger is on Raw. Got to have somebody doing the job. The Usos stay on Raw. The team of the Club is going to stay on Raw because my next guy that is getting caught up is Finn Balor. He's going to show up on Raw and be with the Club. Mark Henry is staying on Raw. Miz, R-Truth. Randy Orton is coming back on Raw. Roman Reigns is staying on Raw. Seth Rollins is staying on Raw. So you got the Shield. They're staying on Raw. And why they're staying on Raw, I'll get to that later. Sheamus is on Raw because you're going to need him on your flagship, promoting that movie he's got coming out here in about the next week. I think this, he's an actor now. He may do more. Who knows? But Sheamus is sticking on Raw. And Rusev is on Raw. Um, as for SmackDown, AJ Styles is the first guy I have going over to SmackDown. John Cena's carrying the U.S. title over there, and we're going to start doing open challenges. I think that your first open challenge for John Cena on SmackDown is Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe's going to get that belt the first night. I mean, the very first Tuesday live show. Hey, you want some? Come get some. And his ass is going to hit the ring. He's going to nail John Cena with a muscle buster, and we're off to the races with that feud. Alberto Del Rio goes to SmackDown. Apollo Crews goes to SmackDown. Bo Dallas goes to SmackDown. Your Dudley Boys, they're there too every Tuesday. Chris Jericho. Now this is kind of iffy with me because he's going to come and go. I think by SummerSlam we're going to see him leave again to go back on tour. But Jericho for right now saying that he's going to be there for a while. Jericho's on SmackDown. Curtis Axel, Darren Young, they were on SmackDown. Fandango and Goldust, they're there on SmackDown as well. Heath Slater, the Lucha Dragons, both of the Lucha Dragons, they'll be transferred as a collective unit. My feeling is that if you're a tag team, you're a collective unit. Kane is going to be on SmackDown. Kevin Owens is on SmackDown. The Ascension are going to be on SmackDown because you're going to need a real good tag division over there. Adrian Neville is going to... Golly, when's the last time somebody called that motherfucker Adrian? Neville is going to be on SmackDown. He's your cruiserweight guy. He's your main guy, kind of like what a Billy Kidman was back in the day. Sami Zayn is staying there. You need somebody for Owens to feud with in the beginning. It's going to be good. Mauro Ranallo is going to call these two guys and make these two guys seem like freaking gold. The Vaudevillains are going to SmackDown. Titus O'Neil is going to SmackDown. That's right. You're going to split up Titus O'Neil. I think I put Darren Young on Raw. Yep, I did. Darren Young. Did I put Darren Young? No, Darren Young's on SmackDown. Excuse me. So you may not be able to... You may split up the primetime players with this. You may not. But for now, I got them both on the same show. Tyler Breeze, he's on SmackDown just because they need to build him up. They tore him down so bad. And Zack Ryder. If I missed anybody, let me know in the comments. But as far as tag teams goes, you got the New Day on Raw. Cesaro and Tyson Kidd, if they ever come back. That's a potential tag team. I don't think they will, so I'm going to leave them out. So you got the New Day. You got Enzo and Cass. You got Primo and Epico. You got the Usos. You got the Club. So that's 5 tag teams that you got on Raw. You got Dudley Boys, Darren Young and Titus O'Neil, the Lucha Dragons, the Ascension, and you got the Vaudevillains. So that's 5 and 5. As far as, tag teams go, it's pretty evenly split, I think. Your Intercontinental title is going to stay on Raw, and I think they're doing a good job with that Intercontinental belt, actually putting it on Miz. Your U.S. title, again, you're going to have that open challenge again there on SmackDown. Your women's division, like I said, that's your champions. Your main champ goes to both shows. Your women's title goes to both shows. You can't have divas on one show. The only way you could do it is say, hey, our divas are exclusive to Raw. The cruiserweights are exclusive to SmackDown. However, I think bringing back a cruiserweight title, while it is a good idea, it adds another dimension, it adds another thing. We just saw somebody like AJ Styles compete for the World Heavyweight title. AJ Styles, let's face it, he doesn't look like a heavyweight. And there is a weight limit with cruiserweights. So, I mean, what are you going to do? Make the cruiserweight limit 212 or 220, I think it was before. I'm not too sure, but it just doesn't... I don't know. Maybe, I really don't know where you could go with that. I'd like to see it. I'd do it if it were me calling the shots. I would do it. But you really got to sell AJ Styles as a heavyweight. or people, these certain people as a heavyweight. Dean Ambrose has to be a heavyweight, but then again, he's on Raw. Um, Fandango, you could have go for the cruiserweight title. I could totally see them taking, Heath Slater. He's a good guy. The Lucha Dragons, obviously, if they ever, you have Kalisto in there, man. Come on. Um, you got Neville, obviously. Hell, Sami Zayn is world heavyweight title material if you build him up enough, but also he could be some cruiserweight material as well. Tyler Breeze, cruiserweight material. Zack Ryder could even be a cruiserweight guy if you. Darren Young, I have Darren Young on this roster, but that's the first year, and that took about all of 30 minutes for me to do. Let me know what you think in the comments below, guys. Thank you so much for watching this. This has been Joe booking out of his ass. I know a lot of people are going to turn their heads to the side and go, well, Raw is so much thicker than SmackDown as far as talent. Let's not forget, you got NXT that can push guys up. Joe needs to come up there. That fucking dude is as much Elias Sampson, as much as I can't stand him, he'll be on the main roster. This is going to cause NXT, because one of the things that I get from people is that and a lot of people have said this, well, their roster's so thin. They can't make new stars because their roster's so thin. They don't want to push people. This is going to cause them to push them. They're going to have to bring up guys from NXT, I think, here as well. Because you can only go so long with them having a set roster before, think about it. All these guys are on one roster right now doing 2 shows a week. No wonder there's some people lost in the shuffle. But when you split them up, you're going to kind of run, and unless you put in people from NXT to go upward and cycle some people around, Kane is on his way out the door maybe. Tyson Kidd may not come back. Big Show's probably on his way out the door. Mark Henry's on his way out the door. Sheamus, if this acting thing takes off of him, he's out the door. Then you got to worry about these guys who are not getting over and who could be released, like Apollo Crews. They've already forgotten about. Baron Corbin, they're kind of forgetting about. Tyler Breeze could get his release papers. I don't even think I put Ryback on the damn list because, for all intents and purposes, Ryback's already leaving. And to me, it's the same as a Cody Rhodes situation. If Ryback wanted to come with his tail tucked between his legs, I'd look at him and go, no, fuck you. You're the one that wanted to bitch and complain, and you didn't want to have to sit there and see it through. We don't have to Joe, they could have let him know they were doing this. They don't have to. Come on. Brock Lesnar being on both shows adds an aspect to this as well. The Undertaker I didn't put there because The Undertaker he wrestles 1 match a year if we're lucky. The Rock, again, is not on, The Rock is not there enough to really put him on there. Triple H is COO, so I don't know where you would even factor him into this, if you factor him into it at all. As far as NXT goes, I think that every year you hold a tournament. And, Shane McMahon comes out there and goes, you know what, we're going to have a tournament, and this NXT tournament is going to, the guy who wins the tournament gets a main spot on my SmackDown roster, but there it is. There's so many places you could go with this. There's so many fun things you could do. SmackDown definitely needs to open up with a match every week instead of a 20-minute promo like all these insider guys are saying. But the champ's got to go to both shows. Your main champion has to go to both shows. What are you going to do? Bring back the damn spinner belt? We just got rid of it 2 years ago. I like the way things are now with one champion. As far as the Divas title goes, you either got to put them on one show or do what I would do, put them on both. We've grown so accustomed to seeing women on a wrestling show now. I can't imagine a Monday or Thursday night, well now Tuesday night, without it. So your main men's champion goes to either show. Your cruiserweight title, if they do that, goes to SmackDown. I don't see them doing it, though, because they got rid of it for a reason. McMahon doesn't see any weight in it. And they got rid of the cruiserweight title before the brand split the first time in 2010. So, or was it 11? I'm not too sure. But there you have it, guys. Your draft, again. As far as who starts off the champion, the WWE champion on this, one can only hope it's Seth Rollins, because I would love to see him go back and forth. Will this stay the same? Will it get booked the same? Is Vince really shaking things up? I don't know. But thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you down the road.